Growth is not automatic. Let me say that again because it's so important. Growth is not automatic. Just because you get older doesn't mean you get better. Just because you experience more doesn't mean you learn more. Just because you go through challenges doesn't mean you grow from them. Growth requires intention. Growth requires discipline. Growth requires that you force yourself every single day to become better than you were yesterday. Now, when I say force yourself, I don't mean it has to be painful. I don't mean you have to suffer. What I mean is that you have to be intentional about it. You have to make growth a priority. You have to make it non-negotiable. Because if you don't, life will force you to grow anyway. And when life forces growth upon you, it's usually through pain, through loss, through crisis. But when you force yourself to grow daily, you grow through gain, through learning, through becoming. The beautiful thing about daily growth is that it compounds. Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. He said, he who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it. Well, the same principle applies to personal growth. When you grow just a little bit each day, that growth compounds over time into massive transformation. 1% better every day doesn't seem like much, but over a year, that's 37 times better. Over a decade, that's growth beyond what most people can even imagine. But here's the challenge. Daily growth doesn't look like much in the beginning. It's like planting an oak tree. You plant that little acorn in the ground, and for months, maybe even years, you don't see much happening above the surface. But underneath, the root system is growing, spreading, strengthening. Then one day you notice a small shoot breaking through the soil. Still doesn't look like much, but you keep nurturing it, you keep watering it, you keep believing in it. Years later, you have this magnificent oak tree that provides shade for generations. That's what daily growth does for your life. It's building the root system of your success. It's developing the foundation of your future. Most people want the oak tree without planting the acorn. They want the results without the process. They want the destination without the journey. But success doesn't work that way. Excellence doesn't work that way. Achievement doesn't work that way. So what does it mean to force yourself to grow daily? It means you make a commitment to yourself that every single day, without exception, you will do something to improve yourself. It might be reading a book for 30 minutes. It might be listening to an educational podcast during your commute. It might be practicing a new skill. It might be having a meaningful conversation with someone who challenges your thinking. It might be reflecting on your day and identifying what you learned and how you can apply it tomorrow. The key is consistency. You see, most people are what I call weekend warriors when it comes to personal development. They go to a seminar on Saturday, get all excited, buy some books, make some commitments, and by Wednesday, they're back to their old habits. That's not how growth works. Growth happens in the daily disciplines, in the small things done consistently over time. I remember when I was struggling in my early years working as a stock clerk making pennies. I had a mentor who changed my life by asking me one simple question, "What are you reading?" I told him I wasn't reading anything. He said, "That's your problem. If you want your life to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. And the way you get better is by learning something new every day." That conversation changed everything for me. I started reading books. I started listening to successful people. I started studying philosophy and business and human behavior. But here's the important part. I didn't just read for entertainment. I read for transformation. I didn't just consume information. I applied what I learned. I forced myself to grow daily by not just learning new things, but by implementing new things. You see, there's a big difference between learning and growing. Learning is gathering information. Growing is applying that information in a way that changes who you are and what you do. You can learn all day long, but if you don't apply what you learn, you haven't grown. You've just become a more educated version of the same person you were before. Growth requires action. It requires that you take what you learn and put it to work in your life. It requires that you experiment, that you try new things, that you stretch yourself beyond your comfort zone. Because here's what I've discovered. All growth happens outside your comfort zone. Inside your comfort zone, you get more of what you already have. Outside your comfort zone, you get what you've never had before. Most people live their entire lives within the narrow boundaries of their comfort zone. They do the same things, think the same thoughts, associate with the same people, and then wonder why their lives never change. But the people who achieve extraordinary things in life are the ones who regularly venture outside their comfort zone. They force themselves to grow by forcing themselves to try new things, to take on new challenges, to develop new skills. Let me share with you what I believe are the key areas where you must force yourself to grow daily. First is your mind. Your mind is like a muscle. If you don't exercise it, it gets weak. If you do exercise it, it gets strong. But most people stop exercising their minds the day they finish their formal education. They think learning is something you do in school, not something you do in life. That's a tragic mistake. Your mind is your most valuable asset. It's the source of your ideas, your creativity, your ability to solve problems and create value. If you want to increase your value in the marketplace, you must increase the value of your mind. And the way you do that is by feeding it good information every single day. Read books that challenge you. Listen to people who inspire you. Study subjects that expand your understanding of the world. But don't just consume randomly. Be intentional about what you put into your mind. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say. If you fill your mind with negative news, gossip, and mindless entertainment, that's what will come out in your thinking and your conversations. But if you fill your mind with wisdom, inspiration, and valuable knowledge, that's what will flow out into your life and your relationships. The second area where you must force yourself to grow daily is your skills. In today's rapidly changing world, your skills are your security. Not your job, not your company, not your industry, but your skills. The skills you have today might be obsolete tomorrow. The skills that got you where you are might not be the skills that will take you where you want to go. That's why you must be constantly developing new skills and improving existing ones. You must force yourself to become better at what you do, and you must force yourself to learn how to do new things. The marketplace rewards people who can create value, and your ability to create value is directly related to your skills. But here's what most people don't understand about skill development. It's not about perfection, it's about progression. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Every expert was once a beginner. Every professional was once an amateur. The difference is that they forced themselves to grow daily in their chosen area until they became excellent. Excellence is not a destination, it's a journey. It's the result of forcing yourself to get a little bit better every day. It's practicing when you don't feel like practicing. It's studying when you'd rather be watching television. It's pushing yourself when it would be easier to quit. Excellence is the accumulation of daily decisions to grow. The third area where you must force yourself to grow daily is your character. Character is who you are when nobody is looking. It's your integrity, your values, your principles. It's what you stand for and what you won't stand for. Character is the foundation of everything else in your life. Without character, success is meaningless and temporary. Character is developed through daily choices. Every day you face situations that test your character. You can take the easy road or the right road. You can tell the truth or bend a little. You can keep your commitments or make excuses. You can be honest or try to get away with something. These daily choices shape your character, and your character shapes your destiny. The fourth area is your relationships. Human beings are social creatures. We need each other. We learn from each other. We grow through our relationships with others. But relationships don't just happen automatically. They require intention, effort, and daily attention. Force yourself to grow daily in your ability to connect with people, to communicate effectively, to show genuine interest in others, to add value to their lives. The quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your relationships. And the quality of your relationships is directly related to the quality of person you are in those relationships. This means you must work on yourself in order to improve your relationships. You can't change other people, but you can change yourself. You can become more patient, more understanding, more forgiving, more encouraging. You can become the kind of person that others want to be around, the kind of person that brings out the best in others. The fifth area where you must force yourself to grow daily is your financial intelligence. Money may not be the most important thing in life, but it affects everything that is important. Your ability to take care of your family, to contribute to your community, to pursue your dreams, to have choices in life. All of these things are affected by your financial situation. But financial success is not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep and how wisely you use it. It's about understanding the principles of money, how to earn it, how to save it, how to invest it, how to protect it. These are skills that must be learned and developed over time. Most people leave their financial education to chance. They hope everything will work out. They trust others to manage their money without understanding the principles themselves. That's a recipe for financial disaster. You must take responsibility for your own financial education. You must force yourself to learn about money, about investing, about building wealth. The sixth area is your health and vitality. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. If you don't take care of it, it won't take care of you. Yet most people treat their cars better than they treat their bodies. They change the oil in their car every 3,000 miles, but they go years without a physical examination. They put premium fuel in their car, but they put junk food in their body. Your health is not just about living longer, although that's important. It's about living better. It's about having the energy and vitality to pursue your goals, to enjoy your relationships, to make a contribution to the world. When you feel good physically, you perform better mentally and emotionally. Forcing yourself to grow daily in your health means making daily choices that support your long-term well-being. It means choosing the salad over the burger, the stairs over the elevator, the early bedtime over the late-night television show. These small daily choices compound over time into either vibrant health or declining health. The seventh and final area where you must force yourself to grow daily is your spiritual life. I'm not talking about religion, although religion can be part of it. I'm talking about your connection to something greater than yourself, your sense of purpose and meaning, your values and beliefs that guide your decisions and actions. Without a strong spiritual foundation, life becomes a series of random events without meaning or direction. But when you have a clear sense of purpose, when you know why you're here and what you're trying to accomplish, everything else falls into place. Your goals become clearer, your decisions become easier, your challenges become opportunities for growth. Now, here's the beautiful thing about forcing yourself to grow daily in all these areas. They're all connected. When you improve in one area, it affects all the other areas. When you develop your mind, it improves your skills and your relationships. When you strengthen your character, it enhances your spiritual life and your health. When you improve your financial intelligence, it reduces stress and improves your relationships. This is what I call the compound effect of personal development. Each area of growth reinforces and amplifies the others, creating an upward spiral of improvement and achievement. But it all starts with the decision to force yourself to grow daily. Let me tell you what happens when you don't force yourself to grow daily. You stagnate. You plateau. You become comfortable with mediocrity. You settle for less than your potential. You look back on your life with regret, wondering what might have been if you had just pushed yourself a little harder, learned a little more, tried a little longer. But I don't want that for you. I want you to experience the joy of continuous growth, the satisfaction of daily progress, the excitement of becoming more than you thought possible. I want you to look back on your life with pride, knowing that you maximized your potential, that you didn't waste the gifts you were given, that you made the most of your opportunities. The choice is yours. You can coast through life, doing just enough to get by, or you can force yourself to grow daily and see what you're really capable of achieving. You can be a spectator in your own life, or you can be the author of your own story. But understand this, if you choose to force yourself to grow daily, it won't always be easy. There will be days when you don't feel like reading, when you don't want to exercise, when you'd rather watch television than work on your skills. On those days, you must do it anyway. That's what discipline means. That's what commitment means. That's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. The unsuccessful do what's comfortable. The successful do what's necessary. The unsuccessful let their feelings dictate their actions. The successful let their commitments dictate their actions. The unsuccessful hope for the best. The successful prepare for the best by becoming their best. Remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. You don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You just have to make the commitment to force yourself to grow daily. And then honor that commitment one day at a time. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. Today, read something that will improve your mind. Practice a skill that will increase your value. Do something kind for someone else. Take care of your body. Reflect on your purpose. Save $1. These small actions might not seem like much, but they're the building blocks of extraordinary achievement. 10 years from now, you'll be somewhere. The question is where. That will be determined by the daily choices you make between now and then. If you force yourself to grow daily, you'll be amazed at where you end up. If you don't, you'll still end up somewhere, but it might not be where you want it to be. The time is going to pass anyway. The question is whether you'll be better when it does. The choice is yours, and the choice is now. Force yourself to grow daily and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. Don't let that person down. Force yourself to grow daily and become the person you were meant to be. Now let me share something with you that most people never understand about personal growth. It's not just about adding things to your life. Sometimes growth means subtraction. Sometimes you have to let go of things that are holding you back in order to make room for things that will move you forward. You might need to let go of limiting beliefs that have been programmed into your mind since childhood. Beliefs like money is the root of all evil, or successful people are just lucky, or I'm not smart enough, or I don't have what it takes. These beliefs are like weights tied around your ankles while you're trying to swim. You can still make progress, but it's much harder than it needs to be. You might need to let go of relationships that drain your energy and diminish your dreams. I'm not talking about abandoning people who are going through tough times. I'm talking about those people who consistently discourage you, who mock your missions, who try to talk you out of growing, because your growth makes them uncomfortable with their own stagnation. You know who I'm talking about. They're the ones who say things like, "Who do you think you are?" Or "You're getting too big for your britches," or "Remember where you came from?" Well, let me tell you something. You should remember where you came from, but you shouldn't let where you came from determine where you're going. Your past does not equal your future unless you live there. And you can't take everyone with you on your journey of growth. Some people are meant to be in your life for a season, not for a lifetime, and that's okay. You might also need to let go of habits that no longer serve you. Habits like staying up too late watching mindless television when you could be reading something that improves your mind. Habits like eating foods that make you feel sluggish when you could be nourishing your body with foods that give you energy. Habits like complaining about your circumstances when you could be taking action to change them. Remember, your habits are either moving you toward your goals or away from your goals. There's no neutral ground. Every habit is either contributing to your growth or contributing to your decline. That's why forcing yourself to grow daily often means forcing yourself to break old patterns and create new ones. But here's what I want you to understand about change. It's not just about willpower. Willpower is like a muscle that gets tired. If you rely only on willpower to change your habits, you'll eventually wear yourself out and go back to your old ways. That's why most people fail at their New Year's resolutions by February. Real, lasting change happens when you change your identity. Instead of saying, "I'm trying to be healthier," you say, "I'm a healthy person." Instead of saying, "I'm trying to read more," you say, "I am a reader." Instead of saying, "I'm trying to be more disciplined," you say, "I am a disciplined person." When you change your identity, your behaviors naturally align with who you believe you are. This is why forcing yourself to grow daily is so powerful. Every day that you choose growth over comfort, learning over entertainment, discipline over indulgence, you're reinforcing your identity as someone who is committed to excellence. You're proving to yourself that you are the kind of person who does what it takes to succeed. And success, let me tell you, is not a destination. It's not something you achieve once and then you're done. Success is a way of being. It's a daily practice. It's the result of doing the right things for the right reasons over and over again until they become who you are. I've met many people who achieved what they thought was success. They made a lot of money, they got the promotion, they bought the big house, but they weren't fulfilled because they hadn't grown as people. They had achieved without becoming. They had accomplished without developing. And eventually, what they achieved slipped away because they didn't have the character to sustain it. That's why I always say, don't wish for things to be easier. Wish for yourself to be better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills to solve them. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom to handle the challenges. Because when you focus on becoming better, everything else takes care of itself. Let me tell you about the power of momentum and personal growth. When you first start forcing yourself to grow daily, it feels difficult. It feels like you're pushing a boulder uphill. Every small action requires tremendous effort. Reading for 30 minutes feels like a chore. Exercising feels like torture. Saving money feels like sacrifice. But as you continue to push that boulder, something magical happens. It starts to move a little easier. The daily disciplines become daily habits. The habits become part of who you are. And eventually, instead of pushing the boulder uphill, you're riding it downhill. The momentum of your growth carries you forward. This is what I call the breakthrough point. It's the moment when growth stops being something you have to force yourself to do and starts being something you can't imagine not doing. It's when you realize that you've become addicted to progress, hooked on improvement, committed to excellence, not because you have to be, but because you want to be. But getting to that breakthrough point requires persistence. It requires that you force yourself to grow daily even when you don't see immediate results, even when progress seems slow, even when others question what you're doing. It requires faith, faith in the process, faith in yourself, faith in the compound effect of small daily improvements. I want to share with you one of the most important lessons I've learned about growth that happens in cycles. There will be periods of rapid growth when everything seems to click, when opportunities appear everywhere, when success comes easily. But there will also be periods of apparent stagnation when nothing seems to be happening, when progress is invisible, when you wonder if you're wasting your time. During these plateau periods, most people quit. They think the process isn't working. They think they're not cut out for success. They think they should try something else. But the wise person understands that plateaus are not periods of no growth. They're periods of preparation for the next level of growth. Think of it like building a skyscraper. Most of the time and effort goes into building the foundation, which is invisible from the outside. People walking by might think nothing is happening because they can't see any visible progress. But the construction workers know that without a strong foundation, the building will collapse. The invisible work is the most important work. The same is true with personal growth. Much of your growth is invisible. It's happening inside you, in your thinking, in your character, in your understanding. Others might not see it. You might not even feel it, but it's happening. And when the time is right, when the foundation is strong enough, you'll experience a breakthrough that will amaze everyone, including yourself. This is why you must be patient with the process while being impatient with yourself. Be patient with the results. They will come in their own time. But be impatient with your daily actions. Don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today to grow. Let me address something that stops many people from committing to daily growth. They think they're too busy. They say they don't have time to read, to learn, to exercise, to develop themselves. But here's the truth. You have the same 24 hours that everyone else has. The same 24 hours that the most successful people in the world have. The difference is not in the amount of time you have, but in how you use the time you have. Successful people don't find time for growth. They make time for growth. They understand that time spent on personal development is not time taken away from their success. It's time invested in their success. They know that 30 minutes spent reading a good book will pay dividends for years to come. They know that an hour spent exercising will give them more energy for the other 23 hours of their day. The question is not whether you have time to grow. The question is whether you have time not to grow. Because if you don't invest time in growing yourself, you'll spend a lot more time dealing with the consequences of not growing, missed opportunities, failed relationships, health problems, financial struggles, regret. Time is your most valuable resource because it's the one resource you can't get back once it's gone. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. That's why you must use your time wisely. That's why you must force yourself to grow daily while you still have time to grow. I want to leave you with this thought. You are capable of far more than you realize. Inside you right now are abilities you haven't discovered, talents you haven't developed, potential you haven't tapped. But that potential will remain dormant unless you force yourself to grow daily. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly by accident. It doesn't happen automatically. The caterpillar must go through the difficult process of metamorphosis. It must literally dissolve itself in order to become something greater. And during that process, there are moments when it's neither caterpillar nor butterfly. It's something in between, something undefined, something that looks like chaos. That's what growth feels like sometimes. It feels like chaos. It feels uncomfortable. It feels uncertain. You're no longer who you used to be, but you're not yet who you're becoming. That's the most critical time in the growth process, and it's when most people give up. They want to go back to being a caterpillar because at least that was familiar. But if you push through that uncomfortable transition, if you force yourself to keep growing even when it doesn't feel good, you'll emerge as someone completely transformed. You'll become the butterfly you were always meant to be. The choice is yours. You can remain a caterpillar, safe in your cocoon of mediocrity. You can force yourself to grow daily and discover what you're truly capable of becoming. The world needs more butterflies. The world needs you to become who you were designed to be. So make the commitment today. Make the commitment to force yourself to grow daily. Make it non-negotiable. Make it a priority. Make it a way of life. Because when you do, you'll not only transform your own life, you'll inspire others to transform theirs. You'll become a living example of what's possible when someone commits to continuous growth and improvement. Your journey of daily growth starts now. Not when you finish reading this, not when you get home, not when conditions are perfect. Now, what will you do today to grow? What book will you read? What skill will you practice? What habit will you change? What belief will you challenge? What relationship will you improve? What dream will you pursue? The answer to those questions will determine the trajectory of your life. Choose wisely. Choose growth. Choose to force yourself to grow daily and watch as your life becomes a masterpiece of continuous improvement and endless possibility.